Now, before I get into my thoughts about the Batgirl cancellation, I do want to say it is very, very disappointing for everybody who put a lot of time, effort, and sweat into making what they did and then not have it released. Whenever something like this happens, it sucks. It's very unfortunate because the last thing you want to do is be in a position like this, especially a director or an actor, music producer. Make a film that you may end up falling in love with when you're done, especially if you end up feeling like this is the best work I've ever done in my moment right now. And then to have that same production company say, hey, we're not moving forward with it. Sorry, it's being scrapped, and literally everywhere, streaming services and theaters. So it is very unfortunate for these people who worked on the film. It is very unfortunate for the people who were genuinely looking forward to this movie as well. But this leads me into saying my piece, which is, I'm actually glad this happened. Yes, I have stated many times on this channel that I'm not looking forward to this new DCEU they're building. I've stated many times in other videos that I think it is a cheap cop-out what they're doing. I don't believe they even have a full story. They don't have a narrative on where they want to reach things. The DCEU is literally an extended universe. It's not a connected universe. There's a reason why there is so much turnover and why so many DC films don't actually line up with one another, because Warner Brothers has no idea what they're doing. A big reason why I am against the Flash movie and why I was against the Batgirl film is because it completely undermined Ben Affleck's Batman character. This is where Warner Brothers decided to say, hey, we're gonna pick and choose. And I've said so many times that all Michael Keaton's return as Batman was going to do is they were going to try and replicate a Spider-Man No Way Home situation. And once again, I have said so many times why that was not going to work and why it won't work if he does indeed return for the Flash movie, if that movie still even happens. Now, I have a poll on my channel currently that you should go check out, and it's simple. It just says, are you upset about the Batgirl cancellation? Yes, not at all, 50-50. I'm very curious to see what the people on my channel and anyone else who stumbles across me feel about the cancellation of this Batgirl film. I think this is a good idea. $90 million, and honestly, there's probably numbers they don't tell us, so let's just round it off to $100 million. A $100 million budget for an HBO Max Batgirl film has just been canned by Warner Brothers, and the way I see it is, yes, of course, that's a lot of money, but when you compare it to other projects that constantly get made today, we are dealing with budgets of over $200 million. An $80, $90, even $100 million budget loss is nothing to these corporations who have billions of dollars. I'm not saying it's ideal, but I am saying it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, I have said many times, why don't they just do that with The Flash? Personally, if we were to get an update today that said the Flash movie is canned and will not be releasing, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be super happy, the way I am with the Batgirl movie not coming out. Although I understand with The Flash that the budget is about $250 million. That is a hefty bullet to bite. That's not a bullet, that is an RPG shot. This movie was made by an entire different regime of Warner Brothers. A lot of the movies slated for DC right now are a lot of movies that were greenlit by other people, by Warner Brothers, before Discovery and Zaslav took over. Whatever Zaslav is planning right now, some of these movies and shows do not fit the regime that he is trying to build. And I 100% respect it. This is the thing. People are going to complain that Batgirl is getting canceled, and we're going to hear the same old thing all over again. What is DC doing? What is Warner Brothers doing? They have no idea how to make movies. blah, 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 blah. And whereas, yes, that is still very, very true, I do not blame Zaslav for canning this movie because, in my opinion, this is a movie that should never have even been made in the first place. Half of what DC has done after Zack Snyder should not have been made. Just because you can make something does not mean it should be made. And that just goes for everything. That doesn't just go for DC. That even goes for Marvel and any other movie universe production studio out there. But unfortunately, the Warner Brothers management before Discovery had that notion of, hey, we can make this, and this. Why don't we just do it? Because why the hell not? Who cares if it doesn't make sense? Maybe 5-6 years down the line, we'll try and find a way to fit this all in and tell you it was always connected from the beginning. That's the issue that Warner Brothers was facing in the most simplest terms possible. But now with Zaslav at the forefront, he's now changing things. And I understand why people are going to get so mad about this, but I think it is necessary. Now, there are many reasons this movie could have officially been canned, but here are some of the reasons that Variety has listed in their article. Batgirl was made under a different regime at Warner Brothers, headed by Jason Kilar and Ann Sarnoff, that was singularly focused on building its streaming service HBO Max. That effort included Kilar's infamous decision to release the studio's entire 2021 theatrical slate simultaneously on the streamer, which helped build the subscriber base, but also jeopardized the studio's reputation with top-tier talent. That is exactly why Kilar is no longer part of Warner Brothers, and why he got let go. Batgirl found itself on the bad end of that decision, apparently neither big enough to feel worthy of a major theatrical release, nor small enough to make economic sense in an increasingly cutthroat streaming landscape. Spending the money to expand the scope of Batgirl for theaters, plus the $30 million to $50 million needed to market it domestically, and the tens of millions more needed for a global rollout. Already, that's more money than the movie itself actually cost to make. But essentially, go anywhere on Google and type in Batgirl, and you'll see the same thing that's being said according to Warner Brothers. They felt that it was not big enough for a theatrical release, and they just felt like it was not going to make enough money. It's also being said that Warner Brothers wants to move in a route where this is not what they're looking for. When they release new movies, they want it to have a bigger theatrical effect. And once again, I 100% respect that. I absolutely agree with that. There are characters you can get away with on a streaming service, but that's not how DC should be hitting their fans right now. DC needs to be in a situation where they look at the world and they say, okay, we need people back, and we need to prove to them that we are listening to them, their wants, their needs for movies, and the fact that we can actually tell good stories with good directors, producers, actors. Let's make movies. That is your best way back into the hearts of DC fans. TV shows and movies straight to services, that comes after you can actually develop a good fan base around you. So that is another reason why I 100% understand and like the decision of canning Batgirl. Now, of course, this is something that's going to be on everyone's minds. And if you follow the patterns, it does seem quite interesting. All of a sudden, Batgirl is now not ever going to be seen, so Michael Keaton is not going to appear as Batman in that movie. The Flash film is still up for debate. We don't know what in the world is happening with that movie. And then Aquaman 2 was supposed to feature Michael Keaton's Batman at the end, which is now being cut and replaced by Ben Affleck. As if the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse has not been raging on for over a year, it has found some sort of revival today, especially with these cancellation news and Ben Affleck coming back as Batman. I've seen so many posts on Instagrams and TikToks of the fact that Ben Affleck's return in Aquaman was announced compared to the MCU phases 5 and 6 announcements, and one singular man in Ben Affleck had more likes and retweets on 80-90% of accounts than Marvel's 5th and 6th phase announcements. That's unreal. That's loud. That speaks volumes. Now, whereas I will tell you this, I could sit here right now and all of a sudden get a notification on my phone. The Snyderverse is coming back. It's being restored 100%. Everybody's coming back to play their role, and we're picking up right from Zack Snyder's Justice League. He's going to fulfill his vision. I would be very, very happy. Just the idea of seeing what he had planned, like a nightmare world, Superman going evil, a fight against Darkseid, makes me very excited. And I've stated so many times as well that even though I love Zack Snyder's movies, I don't agree with everything he does. I love Batman vs. Superman, but I don't agree with everything he does in that movie. There are things I would do different. I simply respect his vision. So in saying that, I would love it if a lot of what's going on right now in Warner Brothers is to make room for Zack Snyder's return, although I'm not going to put too much stock into that. I do believe there is a reasoning behind Zaslav's decision in thinking, look what we had before with Zack Snyder. Look at some of these beloved actors we had. I can't believe the management before me just let this slide and let this entire world crumble on itself to the point where they had no idea what to do with it anymore. I could see Zaslav thinking that, and I could see him also thinking to himself, maybe we need to do things to, if we can't restore the Snyderverse, let's just get those characters back into the fold. Let's work on a contract with Henry Cavill. Let's get Ben Affleck to repeat appearances in other movies. Let's work on a Wonder Woman 3. Let's recast Ezra Miller. Maybe he's trying to do smaller things to make up for all the mess that prior Warner Brothers created. There's even a possibility, and I'm just throwing it out there, that he has a discussion with Zack Snyder and says, look, we cannot give you the full Snyderverse. Unfortunately, we got too many things on the go that it just won't be able to happen. Although what we will do, we will give you a smaller budget, maybe of $200-300 million, and you're capable of maybe making 2 other movies. One movie in the nightmare world, and then one movie where you end up defeating the Darkseid threat. I'm not saying that's even a thought in his mind, or that's something that might be going on there. Then again, we have no idea. We're just not sure. Who knows? But really, you never know. And now it's become very interesting because on social media, I'm now seeing a lot of hashtags of release Batgirl. And it kind of makes me laugh because a lot of the people I'm seeing use these hashtags are the same people who denied the Snyder Cut existed, denied that people wanted the Snyder Cut, tried to jump this bandwagon of, oh, the Snyderverse was controlled by bots, which we all know was a hit piece, and that is not real at all. And if you still believe that the Snyderverse was controlled by bots, you're fooling yourself, and you need to actually read real information. But these are the same people who wanted nothing to do with Zack Snyder's work, who tried to prove that it's not real, who tried to say, stop living this dream of a Zack Snyder Justice League cut. It's not real. It's never going to happen. Anything you ever want from Zack Snyder is dead. All of a sudden, it ended up being real. It ended up being amazing. And now when your movie is canned, all you can do is release the Batgirl movie. Yeah, karma's a bitch. And now with a lot of these fans, you're going to start to see when they don't get their way, they're going to start these hashtag trends. They're going to start a hashtag army. Because it worked with Zack Snyder, they're going to think it's going to work anywhere and with anything. The more they paste this hashtag everywhere, the more the company's going to look at it and say, okay, we have to. There's a huge difference between Batgirl and Justice League, though. You can have an opinion on Zack Snyder's world of DC that he created, like it or not. What I will say you can't argue is the fact that the DC universe was at least following a story, and it was more current than it has been in the past 2, 3, 4 years. Ever since Warner Brothers put a stop to the vision of Zack Snyder, they have had no idea what they want to do. They focus more of their time on CW shows than they did the massive events Zack Snyder was creating on film. That should show you how terrible their priorities were. The Snyder Cut hashtags, the reason why they work, it's because it's a phenomenon that we've never seen before. It's a movie event that has never been seen before in superhero cinema history. And now you're getting these people who are unbelievably flabbergasted that Warner Brothers would stop a vision straight in the middle, just as things have ramped up. Just before you're getting to the epic finale, they cut it. It's done, finished, move on. That's why the hashtag for Snyder actually work. That's why his was very important. The reason why a hashtag for Batgirl's not going to work is because there are a lot of people like me who are actually glad it's not happening. That movie has really no stock into it. Oh yeah, because Michael Keaton's showing up as Batman. Well, first of all, I am a firm believer he should not have even been coming back in the first place. And two, apparently he's only in it for 5 scenes, so what's the big deal? What implications does that movie have on the wider world? Nothing, especially when it's on HBO Max. You can still tie in world-like consequences into a streaming service movie or show, but they won't be felt as dire as they would in an actual film, premiering in theaters worldwide. The reason why Snyder's movies are so important to the fan base is because they did things. Love them or hate them, it actually made rumbles around the world where people actually talked about it. Talk shit about Batman, Superman all you want. You're still talking about it, and that movie is winning because of it. So when I'm seeing these Batgirl hashtags, release Batgirl, especially those people who were completely against Snyder, I'll remember this. Overall, this situation is pretty crazy. And even though I am on board with the decision, I like that it's not coming out. That still does not take away from the fact that I do feel bad for the people who worked on this project. It sucks. It's very unfortunate. I wouldn't want to be in this position. But when it comes to the wider DC universe, when it comes to actually figuring out what they're gonna do, it's good that this movie's not coming out. And also too, when hearing the rumors of the screenings that this movie had, it does not sound good at all. A decision like this to can a nearly $100 million movie from releasing in theaters or streaming services is massive. And why it's massive is because this just shows that Zaslav and Warner Brothers mean business. I also can't think this is a coincidence when Zaslav just rehired Alan Horn, a guy who was in charge of greenlighting projects back in the day of the Dark Knight trilogy or Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. He's a very successful man. He knows how to navigate the world of these projects. I can't imagine he did not have a say when it came to continuing with the release of Batgirl. This shows there's going to be a lot of big changes moving forward, and now it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game to see what they cancel next, whether it be already made or in pre-production. It is a waiting game to see if more actors from Snyder's world end up coming back. It is a waiting game to see what they end up greenlighting, projects we don't even know about yet. A lot is going to happen, and Batgirl is the first thing that is about to start this wave of changes. But anyways, everyone, that's all I got off the top of my dome. I'm not sure what else I can say about it right now. I'm just gonna let it sit, and now I want you to let me know in the comments below what you think about this situation, if you were looking forward to Batgirl or if you were like me. But just like usual, everyone, that's it for this video, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.